Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your blue diamond, Eddie Villa.
Forever, baby, you are my universe, and I just want to put you first.
Okay, we can do a little better than that, yes? Okay, I just needed that. Thank you. All right, welcome. Hello, everybody. All right, so I'm so excited that I am the last speaker. Guess when I found out? This morning. It was on there yesterday, totally ignored it. And I'm like, I'm the last one you're all gonna hear today. So I better make it good. And so what I decided I would do is, of course, I'm gonna be sharing some important stuff up here, but I wanna make it impactful. I wanna make it matter to each and every one of you. The ones up here and the ones back there. Let me just first acknowledge, take a breather. We've had a lot of amazing stuff given to us today. Yes? Yeah? Like with some of the announcements, I was actually getting chills. It was so cool because I could feel the room getting excited to want to go out and share all of this with other people. And that's what I'm about. I'm about removing the leashes that get us out and sharing with other people in a way that brings results and joy. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But before I take off on that, I wanted to ask you all to just kind of be present here for a moment and get a little bit more intentional about what you want to see happen for you and for every other person in your organization or any of your Crossline friends in doTERRA. Get intentional just for a moment and ask yourself, what is it you want to see happen after leadership is over? One of the things that Angela and I, my wife Angela, you all know her, she and I have noticed when it comes to leadership is that sometimes, for some people, leadership inspires people to get up and go move and then go do. But sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes we need a retreat from the retreat. Okay? So what I want you to do is kind of get intentional. What is it you want to see? And the reason I'm asking that, I want you to kind of think about that because I'm going to ask you that question again in a few moments. In fact, I might even ask you to write it down. One of the things I've become really good at is helping people write down what they want to see happen and help them make that happen authentically. But first, I just real quickly, I want to acknowledge a miracle. Okay, when God gets involved in your life, you get to tell the world about it, okay? In 2011, I took a really big hit, and it was a pretty bad one, and it was so bad that it took me 11 years to write a book about it to help other people overcome hits just like that. And since then, right after I took that big hit, I spent the next 3 years of my life abusing myself with thoughts like, Eddie, you dropped the ball so bad. Eddie, everyone believes you are a failure. Eddie, no one will follow you again. It took me 3 years of that to finally realize the truth. That it was no one's job to help me believe in myself. It was no one's job to help me build my business to create results for me. It was no one's job to build my confidence for me. It was my job. It was my job to do the work. And I began the work very simply. I decided that I would just do one thing every day to prove that I was helpful. And it was simple. It started with doing videos or anything I could do. I did them every day. And eventually I started to attract some attention by telling people what I was struggling with. And I did the work, and I did the work, and I did the work. And I developed myself more and more. And I helped more people every day. I became relentlessly addicted to being helpful. And then I started learning some pretty cool skills. And then doTERRA goes and brings strengths into my life. And I started to apply that. And I'll tell you what, my friends, here, right here, after all that developing and using and developing my own talents and my own skills and my own strengths and helping my family, being a better father, being a better husband, being everything I always wanted, all the things that God asked me to be, I can say right here, right now, on the stage in front of you amazing people, I am enough. We're talking about missions and commitments and things that you want to share with the world. This is mine. I want help every single human being get so crystal clear about who you are and what you are truly capable of. It is far more than you can imagine. And I'm so grateful that every day I get to witness it in my community and everything I do. So what I'm going to ask you all to ask yourself one more time, why are you here? I've had to ask myself that question every day in a way that I feel like it saved my life. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself that right now. Why are you here? Who are my executors? Raise your hand if you've got 3 or more executors in your top 10 strengths. Executing strengths in your top 10, raise your hand. See, these people would all tell you that everything you do is time utilized or wasted, right? Because they believe that time is life, and you have invested time, your life, in being here. Why? Why are you here? I'm going to assume it's not to just go through the motions. Why are you here? My top 10 strengths, which I'll share with you in just a moment, my top 10 strengths show that I am influencing and strategic thinking dominant. And what that means is I love to move people forward and think and create and learn. And one of my strengths, which is strategic, I use it a little differently than most people who have strategic because I am different. So I use strategic a little different, and what I do is I recognize some patterns. And what I want you to think about is the experience that you had when you first got introduced to doTERRA, when you first thought about doing this business, and something extra that happened as a result. I'm going to share with you 4 different things that have happened in my life where you have recognized the same pattern. And if you're taking notes, write it down. It's real simple. First, you recognize there was a problem. You recognized there was a problem. Something wasn't working. And then you came to the very clear revelation that the traditional methods weren't working. Right? And then something came out of nowhere and was introduced to you. And you, of course, like most, doubted it at first and realized you've got to do the work to develop a skill, to apply this new thing to get a different result. You did the work, you developed the skill, you created new results, and you thrived into a new level in that area. Let me give you an example of my own experience. First, with this beautiful little baby. This is Sutton. Sutton, this is a picture of her when she was 1 year old. And when she was 1, she struggled with a plethora of health concerns. And for her, we recognized a major problem. Her concerns were causing problems for the rest of us. We were all struggling, and so we all were invested in changing or fixing this problem. We recognized very early that the traditional methods weren't working for her. And it took a person who was actively building a network marketing business with a potential solution. She gave us this solution to try. Angela and I, from this point forward, took the responsibility to develop the skill to get good at applying this new method, and the results show. She is thriving. She is 11 years old right now, and she's the first of my girls that loves basketball. She literally said, "Dad, I love basketball," and I wanted to cry. I was like, yay, at least one of them loves basketball. So we started working with her. All right, here's another example. I was working a wonderful 9-to-5 job for a corporate company, and I worked and I was very good at it, but I noticed a problem. And the problem I noticed was that the more and more I advanced in this company, the less and less I saw my family or even knew who I was as an individual. I became more and more committed to helping the company and less able to help my family or even know who I am. I never read books back then, so I noticed the problem. And the traditional methods weren't working. And then God got involved in this one, and I got fired, moved to Utah, got a different job, another company, same mindset, fired in less than 30 days. Just like that. It was awesome. 11 years later, I can say that. But a new opportunity was presented with that same company, this company that helped my daughter through another wellness advocate who was actively building the business. After I got fired, I'm going to just call out one of my favorite people in the world. Her name is Laura Stoker. Laura, I owe everything to her because of this one thing she did. We came to her and we said, Angela went to her and said, Eddie lost his job. And this is what she did. I want you to really pay attention to this subtle thing that can make a difference in a person's life. She said, Eddie lost the job. And she goes, okay, is he going to get unemployment? And we're like, I don't know. It just happened. And she goes, get unemployment. You're going to do this business. She didn't say, oh, like the rest of our neighborhood. The nice people in our neighborhood went, oh, what are you going to do? Oh, and one neighbor in particular said, where are you going to go? Not our neighbor, Laura, who whenever I go to her house, I end up doing her dishes in some way. I just end up cleaning because I'm just so grateful. But thanks to her doing that, we developed the skill. We did the work. And we're thriving. Financially in that way, we are thriving. Are you all recognizing the pattern? You've gone through this. Let me share another one with you that I'm extremely proud of, that I had to ask permission to share because it's not quite my story, but I love telling it. This is my amazing wife, Angela. That's right. You know Angela. We noticed the problem. She was struggling with eating or exercising. These were just things that she couldn't understand. And the traditional methods of taking care of this problem weren't working. Guess what it took? A wellness advocate who was actively building the business to show Angela a couple of different ways, some new ways of doing things. And without starving herself in the kitchen, and without killing herself in the gym, she lost over 140 pounds in 14 months. New result. Okay, I'm going to ask you all a question real quick before I move to the fourth story. If someone were to come up to you, right, and say, oh, using those oils is too hard. It takes too much time, too much work. I want you to write down what you would honestly say to that person. If you could say whatever you wanted, write it down. And I mean this, write it down. You're going to use this in just a minute. Write it down. I've got a surprise for you. If someone said if we went to Laura and said, Laura, these oils are too complicated. I think the traditional methods are better. What would you say? Write it down. And I mean that. Write it down. We're going to use it in a moment. If somebody came up to us and say, Angela, this thing you did is too hard, what would you say to them? 2018. We had just hit Blue Diamond the November before we went to leadership. This was a wonderful leadership because, as you can see, this is when I got introduced to strengths. And during this time, we had a problem. We had been burned out by our business. We were physically and emotionally exhausted from the pushing. We were physically drained. And at this leadership here, we were introduced to a new method. The traditional ways of doing things wasn't working for us. And so we got introduced to a new way. and it was strengths. And it was on that day that I looked and I saw what this was, and my mind went, I've got some work to do. That was 2018. Since then, I have not gone a single day without breaking down someone's strengths report or helping someone see their value or helping someone get absolute crystal clarity about who they are and what they want to do. I have been doing this every day for 4 years. If you have ever watched any training or anything that I've ever done that helped you look at strengths differently, easier, in a way that helps you love who you are, raise your hand, please. Say, I. That's what I've been working on for the last 4 years. And my friends, I have gotten real good at it. I've thought about this, and I'm trying to figure out, what is it I do? And I'll tell you what I do. I help people get clarity. Clarity about what you were meant to do, who you were meant to be. And it's so much fun once you get to experience it. You know, this here is my strengths report. And I'm hoping you've got your strengths report out because I'm going to show you a couple of things about my strengths that might help you understand this very quickly. So if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see that there are 10 strengths. This is what I call, well, this is what I have decided to label your zone of genius. If you've ever read the book, The Big Leap, right? Gay Hendricks talks about the zone of genius. This right here is it. All the things you want to do, be more influential, connected, creative, and productive, happens in these top 10 strengths, energetically, okay? And then the rest, energy kind of changes a little bit, okay? So what I want you to do when you're looking at your report, I want you to see that top 10, that's your go zone, that's your green zone. Take these, and this is all you need to get what you want to do, the things you want to do, and create what you want to create. Right around 11 to 15, things start to turn into what I call meh. So if, like, for example, look at your strengths report and look at, let's see, number 21. And you're like, okay, that's cool, right? But then right around 26, something different starts to happen. So when you start looking at those strengths, you start to feel different, almost angry or confused, right? Frustrated. And when I look at those bottom strengths, it's funny, this is what I learned. Those bottom strengths represent all the things that I thought I was supposed to be that I just didn't like it. It just doesn't work. Every time I try to be those things, I get weird. Not fun to be around. In particular, for me, deliberative. Let me tell you a little bit about deliberative. For me, it means overthinking. For me, overthinking. Guess what I've been doing since I found out I'm the closing speaker? The last 8 or 10 hours, a little rough, right? But then I remembered, I'm not here to do everything. I'm here to do my thing. When you're looking at your doTERRA business, my friends, if you stood right in front of me, I'm going to tell you right now, I would fight to make sure you are doing your thing, not everyone else's thing. Right? When we're looking at all these wonderful things that we've been offered today, I want you to look at the fact that you can do this your own way, in a way that no one could ever do. This, my friends, is proof that I, just like you, am infinitely unique. I'm going to trademark, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone use that word before. Infinitely unique. That means that no one ever has nor ever will have that combination of strengths. Then, no one will ever have nor ever will have this combination of experiences that I've seen. Do you understand that you have that same power? You have something that the world needs. You are different, and it's a good thing. Because the more you be you, the more easy it is for other people to be them. Okay? Last thing before we move, because we're going to move quickly through the next parts. This here is 2 things. Okay, I want you to write this down. What I care about, okay, and how I like to do things, including building a network marketing business. This is what I care about and how I like to do things. This, my friends, is my why. I am here. If you look, if there's 5 influencing strengths, which means that part of my why is to move people forward. Whatever I do, I move people forward. So I'm having a good time up here, but I'm worried about what's going to happen with you all out there, right? That's when my next domain comes in, which is strategic thinking. I also love to think and create and learn and take complex things like an infinitely unique being and make it easy to understand. So first off, Simon Sinek says, he's one of my favorite authors, he says, people don't buy what they do. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it, right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Agreed? Everyone agree with this? Good, because you're going to agree with the next thing. That means you don't buy what you do. You buy why you do it. And when you don't buy what you do, when you don't buy why you're doing it, you don't do it. This is what I've noticed. In coaching thousands and thousands of people for the last 4 years, I have learned this is true for all of us. If we don't buy why we do it, we don't do it. That means that the people in your team, your downline, your organization, when they're not buying why they're doing it, they're not doing it. So what's the point? The point is that we're supposed to develop skills and create results. That's it. That's our job. Develop skills, create results. When we do it with our why, we also create joy. Imagine doing the thing you love, and it just puts money in your bank account, and it just brings the right people into your world, and you just get stuff done, and you come up with creative new ways of doing things. Results and joy is what we will demand from this point forward. No more, no less. No more sacrificing joy for results, and no more sacrificing results for joy. We get them both. So let me just share with you real quick how we can do this. This is real quick. It's not a training, but I want you to understand this. This is not stuff that you can get from Gallup, my friends. I have been working so long with strengths that I now teach things a little bit differently. So what I teach you won't find on the website. So I got to help you understand this simpler. There are 4 domains here. And when you look at your top 10 strengths, the ones you have 3 or more of points out a desire that must be honored with everything you do. When you honor the desire, you honor your why, even if you don't know what your why is. Okay? So I'll help you understand that a little better with some examples. If you have 3 or more of the relationship building strengths in your top 10, everything you do must honor the desire to connect with the right people. That means if you're being asked to do things that you in your mind have decided are gonna put connections with people at risk, guess what happens? You don't do it. That's it, right? So what are the things that relationship builders love? Text blitzes. Setting goals. Making lists of people they love. These things they're not afraid of, they just violate their why. So relationship builders, what we get to do is we get to do things in a way that honors your desire to connect. So do it in a way that honors your desire to connect. Instead of saying, hey, here's a text message, you got to try my product. Hey, let's hang out. A simple text message like that makes a difference. So as a relationship builder, your job is to develop a skill, right, of sharing products in a way that develops your relationships. And one last thing, relationship builders, I have to always warn you of this one, right? The fact that you can feel other people's feelings does not mean you are responsible for them. The only thing you get to do is say, hey, I feel you. I feel where you want to be. Here's a couple of kits. Pick one. and we'll do this together. Yes? Whether they say no or not, it doesn't matter. You are honoring the relationship. Let's move to the next one. Influencers. Okay, let's hear it. You know you want to yell. Come on. It's always about you. Okay, influencers must honor their desire to move people forward. That means seeing people get from here to here the way the influencer wants them to do it, with the influencer saying, come on. Right? What scares influencers is feeling like the people around them aren't moving and being terrified of being held back by that, right? So what do we do, influencers? First, stop telling people what to do, please. It's not working. It's making other people crazy. When you say, oh my gosh, you're here, and you could be here, and here's how you'll get there, and I will be part of it. Okay, influencers, let's get real. Let's stop all that fun craziness and just keep all that in your head. It's better in there. And then instead ask them, hey, tell me, where are you? Tell me, where would you like to be? Tell me, how would you like to get there? And then tell me how you would like me to help. Influencers, I want you to imagine a person come up to you and say, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm here. And I really wanna be here. But I wanna get there this way. And this is exactly how you can help me. Once that happens, influencers, the gloves are off. We're going. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, start asking instead of telling influencers, and you will influence and move people faster. Next, executors. Who are my executors in the room? 3 or more executing strengths. Okay, executors do everything in a way that honors their desire to make sure things are done the right way. Especially if you have your belief high, raise your hand. All right, everybody, look at these stubborn people. Woo! I know, positivity people are like, can we use a different word? We could, or we could tell the truth. I don't know. Executors are great at making sure, which means measure. That's why they make lists, so they can measure things are being done, right? What executors fear is getting stuck in 30-minute conversations that go nowhere. All right, executors, so it's time to be honest with people and say, hey, I'm calling you because I care about you, and I'm here to make sure stuff is getting done. Yes? And then you let them know, I got 5 minutes. Let's do this. And then we can hang out later. All right? So executors, honor this desire to make sure things are done the right way and let people know this is the value you bring. Okay, next, strategic thinkers. Okay, well, look at that. Raise your hand if you've got 3 or more strategic thinking strengths in your top 10. Okay, all right. So strategic thinkers love to think, create, and or learn, which means they love to answer simple questions with long, drawn-out answers. Right? Strategic thinkers, let's stop giving all the information until they have all the oils. Once they have all the oils, now all the information is helpful. Until then, the only information you need is why they need to do this instead of what they're doing. Yes? So let's start asking more questions about what they're doing that they want to stop, and start asking them more questions about what they want to see happen. Here's kit 1, here's kit 2, pick one, and you'll get all of my knowledge. Yes? Okay. My friends, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And what do you want? Relationship builders want connection. Influencers want to move people forward. Executors want to knock stuff off the list as quickly as possible. Strategic thinkers want to share their knowledge and wisdom. This is my infinitely unique why. This is my infinitely unique how. And my friends, I will never, ever go to this right here again. This will never happen again. You can't make me. No matter how many of your cool systems and stuff that you throw at me, as soon as I recognize this, I will not do them. What will I do? I'll do this, and then I'll let you all go. I will be, number one, I will see multiple different ways of doing things. I'll get exposed to all your different ways, and I'll pick the best one. As an activator, I'll get impatient and impulsive and tell people, let's go do things and figure it out along the way. As a futuristic, I'll get a vision of the future that inspires me to want to do this all the time. As a woo, I will win you over anytime, any place, anywhere. As with the self-assurance, I'll trust my gut. I'll trust my instincts. With learner, I will get really into learning stuff without worrying about whether or not I'm going to do anything with it. With communication, I will speak dramatically with my arms and my body, with everything I do. With competition, I will watch what you're doing and I'll get inspired and I'll tell you, don't you dare stop moving forward because I'm using you to push me. With focus, I will see the steps, and I'll make every big step a small one towards what I want. And with Arranger, I will put the people together for maximum inspiration and maximum knowledge. Is that cool? Okay, my friends, I'm over on time, so I'm just going to say this. This is my why. You have a why too. This network marketing company can give you everything you've ever wanted, when you relentlessly do it with your why. Thank you all so much for this experience. I love you all so much. Please, if there's ever anything I can do to help you, thank you.